Almost every enterprise company needs to onboard third-party business partners to their network, but they must do so in a very secure fashion, keeping that business partner isolated, giving it only limited access to its corporate resources, assuring that business partner does not talk to any other business partner. In this short video, we're going to take a look at how customers traditionally approach this and solve this with do-it-yourself model, and then compare this to how we can do it with Alkira. Let's get right to it. So in a traditional do-it-yourself approach, enterprises will bring in their third-party business partners into a physical data center or a physical co-location facilities, terminating that connection on a physical firewall. These physical firewalls are deployed in an active standby fashion. Transport used to bring in that connection is either going to be a private MPLS connection or an internet connection. But this still poses quite a bit of challenges, such as maintaining end-to-end network segmentation if desired for a business partner all the way to your corporate resource, restricting access to selective resources from at a network layer, a policy, and a security layer. Typically, hop-by-hop configuration is done for every new partner that's onboarded, or if a change is required for an existing partner, conducting software upgrades, unable to drive standardization, lack of automation, scaling past two firewalls, local and regional failover, no visibility for business partners, no front-end partner portal, difficult capacity planning, and these environments are traditionally built for end state and often not able to scale down. Let's take a look at how Alkira solves and addresses all of these challenges. Let's now take a look at how Alkira addresses the challenges mentioned in the traditional do-it-yourself approach. First, quick understanding of what Alkira is. Alkira's offering is an network infrastructure deployed on demand. It's delivered as a service with no hardware for consumer to deploy or no software for consumers to manage. When a consumer wants to leverage or use Alkira's service, the first thing they do is they deploy what we call these cloud exchange points. They look more or less like this in the UI when you first log in. These cloud exchange points are best thought of as virtualized co-location facilities or virtualized data centers. They run on top of hyperscaler infrastructure, which means they can be deployed anywhere around the globe where a hyperscaler exists. When more than one of these CXPs are deployed, they automatically connect with each other like a Google mesh, and they establish a high throughput, low latency backbone connectivity between the two CXPs. Now, it's represented in a very simplified fashion, but it is a very sophisticated architecture behind the scenes. It comprises of many full stack networking nodes that are fully meshed, that scale horizontally and vertically to meet your needs. There is an SDN component to separate control plane from data plane. There is an orchestration layer to detect any node failures and instantiate a new one, ability to reroute around any failures, ability to insert any kind of third-party service and steer traffic to it. There's also a whole management and monitoring layer, and the entire service can be integrated with your automation as well. But the best part about it is, since all of this is offered to you as a service, you don't have to worry about each individual of these nodes and all of the sophistication that I mentioned. From a user standpoint, they interact simply in this CXP and build what their desired intent is on top of what we offer. Alright, so now let's take a quick look at how we would set up the partner connectivity that we've been talking about, and then we'll switch over to the UI and see this in real live action. The first thing that you would do before you establish connectivity to your business partners from Alkira is first establish connectivity to your corporate environment. So we would create a corporate VRF. We would then extend connectivity to your data centers, on-prem environment, as well as your cloud resources. We would then create an extranet VRF to park all of our third-party business partners into. Now, corporate VRF and extranet VRF will be completely isolated from each other. They can have overlapping IP addresses, and only selective resources will be allowed by the admin of Alkira between corporate and extranet. not only are we going to selectively give access between the two VRFs, but we can also optionally inspect that traffic through a next-gen firewall as well. But once that is established, the two VRFs are established, we can now create standard template groups for our different types of partners that we have coming into our environment. So say we have partners that are route-based VPN partners, we can create a group for them. We have partners that require NAT services because they have overlapping IP. We can set up a different group for them. We have partners that have policy-based VPNs. We're migrating them off from policy-based to route-based, but some are still on policy-based, so we can park them in a separate group. You may also have some groups, some partners that we don't know what access they need, but we need to bring up the tunnel. So we can park them in this quarantine group, and when we're ready at any time, you can switch them from quarantine to either route, NAT, or policy-based group. So now, once this infrastructure is set up, as new partners come in, for instance, if AFX comes in and it requires, it's a route-based VPN partner, it gets established as a route-based VPN. Similarly, with if a partner BFX, let's say, came in, the NAT configuration can already in place beforehand, and all we're doing again is establishing IPsec tunnel connectivity. Same with CFX, and same with DFX. I hope this made sense. Let's now switch over and see this live in the Alkira environment. So now let's take a look at a live environment of what we've been discussing so far on whiteboarding. Remember, our service is offered as a service, so every customer gets their own unique URL where they can log in and build their entire environment from there. So what I've done here is in my sandbox tenant logged in, and I've selected these two regions, and in US East is where US East 2 is where I've brought in all of our partner connectivity. So if I click on US East 2, you can see first I have connectivity to a corporate network. So within my corporate VRF, we have connectivity to my data center, as well as my AWS VPCs, VPC1 and VPC2. We can even see I have connectivity to AFX, and notice that AFX is in a different segment. If I click on AFX, it tells me it's the extranet segment. If I click on data center, it's in the corporate segment. Similarly, we have connectivity into BFX, which is comes into a NAT group, and CFX, that is a policy-based VPN group that it comes in on, and DFX, which is quarantined, and even though it comes in, the health is green, which means the IPsec tunnels are up and etc., but its health state is good, but it's quarantined, and we won't learn any previous prefixes or be advertising any prefixes out to it. So if you look at advertised routes received, we're not going to receive any. If you look at advertised routes, you won't see any either. There is route policy applied for that. We can see this information also in the dashboard if we click on visualize routes, and we go to our corporate network and we look at local prefixes. You will see in our corporate network, corporate VRF, we are learning the data center /24 prefix, as well as the 2/24 prefix from our cloud VPCs. We can also come in and do the same thing for our extranet and look at our extranet. We can look at the local prefixes and notice that we're learning the AFX prefix. We're learning the CFX prefix, which was our policy-based VPN. CFX, AFX was our route-based VPN, and BFX was our natted partner that came in. There's a little hashtag that symbolizes that this that all traffic coming in from BFX is being natted. The original IP was 192.168.1.0, which overlapped with AFX, and has been natted to 192.168.20.0. We can see this information also with in diagnostics. If I go back to our CXP, I can select my corporate as well as my extranet VRF, and I can look at flow capture information. And when I do that, we will see that there is communication and traffic happening between my data center as well as my business partners, 3.0, 1.0, which AFX, CFX, and BFX, and communicating with our data center. We can also select our netted partner BFX, and see that NAT translations occurring within the environment as well. And sure enough, we see that the original IP coming in is 192.168.1.11, and the translated IP is 192.168.20.11 coming in into the environment and going to this destination that has the original IP of 172.16.1.8. That concludes our demo for today for External as a Service. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks again.